I really thank Professor Tanaka for in our University of California, San Diego, to invite me to attend this very memorial event. And the reason I'm here is probably, there are a couple of reasons, but the biggest reason is our department, we received the entire collection of Masao Miyoshi's books, and we have here the family members of Masao Miyoshi, and I really thank them from our heart to give us the very important books, not only for us, but for all of our, all of us who are influenced by Masao Miyoshi, his ideas and his personality and his way of living, of life. And I have brought some books, the copies of our journal, in which I wrote very briefly about the books, collection of Masao Miyoshi's books, and some extra copies are displayed on the table, so if you are interested, you can take a look at them, and if you're really interested, you can bring it home. And I think Masao Miyoshi came to the US, and he almost single-handedly fought the nation state and capitalism and everything. But he has nothing to fight except his ideas. But his ideas came from books and people, of course. But I think he's a kind of 19th century intellectual living in the 20th century, which means most of his knowledge was from the books he read. So I think it's a critical importance to have his book preserved somewhere. And luckily, we had his books. And for example, this is part of the books sent to Professor Miyoshi from Edward Said. And there's an inscription here. He said, I can't really read his writing, but he said, for something, fighting comrade. Can you see that? Fighting comrade. And so there are a lot of discoveries when we are sorting out his books. And also, we are very happy to get this kind of document, which is Kenzaburo, Oe Kenzaburo translated part of Miyoshi's book into Japanese, and he wrote it in his calligraphy. I showed it to some specialists in Japan, and how much does it, how the price? And he said, well, it's not really high, it's not really expensive, but it's very rare. And so that's part of the reason I'm here. And also, I'm involved in the innovation of the curriculum at university level in Japan. And we have started the faculty called Culture and Information Science, which sounds really stupid. But the idea is to give the IT technology to students who have no knowledge about the IT technology. I mean, those students from humanities, they abominate. They don't like the mathematics and the IT sciences. But in order to make them the salary person, and in order to give them jobs, they need some IT training. The basic idea is to teach the humanities through the information technology. And nowadays, it's interesting. Kids, they learn most of their knowledge not from the books. They come to the class very regularly. And I can't believe they have such a time. If they have such a time, they should read books instead of listening to my talk. But they come to the class. And one time I asked one of the top students, how did you, learn all these things, And he said, well, I just attended the lecture. We don't read books anymore. And if they read the letters, it's either on the computer or cell phones on short messages or Twitter. And so the culture called humanities have already died out in Japan. And we are going to revive the humanities through the IT technology. And IT technology is based on the mathematical sciences. Recently, I visited Beijing University. They have a huge building and devoting to the study of mathematics. The reason they call mathematical sciences is actually it's applied mathematics. But if you say applied mathematics, it can be a second-rate scholarship. So they called mathematical sciences, but actually it's a statistics and probability and all those, the applied mathematics. And this is another school. It's a Renmin University in China. This is a university where all the party members are educated and trained. And they are the future candidates of the national leaders. And they are studying the statistics because to convince people, the best way is just give the numbers. For example, how hot it is today. Well, it's very hot or not so hot, but it's very vague. If we give them, now it's a 71 degree Fahrenheit or 26 centigrade. Anyway, if we give the numbers, then they understand. Also, if we say he's a big man, well, how can you imagine a big man? There are a lot of big men. It's very relative. So we should need the absolute ideas, and in that case, number is most convincing. Now he's 6 feet high, then he may be bigger than me. But if you say just he's big, it's very ambiguous. So this is the what's going on in East Asia today, and but the question is really serious. In the old days, we think it's always a dialogue. Actually, without uttering words, we cannot think. Maybe we can think without words, but how can we communicate? Maybe there are other ways of communication, of course, but for the scholarship, without words, it cannot be really a scholarship. So we use words, and in our imaginary dialogue, we can think. And when we want to record what we have talked to each other, we used to use pen and ink. Still, I am using pen and ink. But suddenly, at the turn of the 20th century, they invented the typewriters. And then from the typewriter, we used word processors. Well, in the English language, they may not affect much, but in Japanese language, when we use word processor, we put the first input in alphabet, and then we select the candidate of Chinese characters, and we choose. But in a way, this is it molds our way of thinking because we have no choice. Otherwise, in the old days, we looked up in the dictionary and how this word can be written in Chinese characters. But when you are using computer, it is really difficult to find difficult Chinese characters. So we tend to use the one on the candidates on the screen. So in a way, our way of thinking is pretty much limited by the word processor. But also, when you are, even in the English language, if you script down something, what you have thought, it's very personal. You have your own writings, all kinds of noises and all kinds of defects, and sometimes you drop, your drink over and so it's very human, and it's very identical with one person. But word processors, it's very impersonal. We never know who wrote that, and police never find the guy who harassed the people by sending the nasty letter. In the old days, they traced them by handwriting, but now everybody sends email. How can you distinguish the true message from the false one, a faked one? And